Hello, and welcome to today's video. My skin feels awful at the moment, and it probably looks mostly fine. If you look really close, you might be able to notice some little things, but I'm pretty good at covering it up. But I have very bad eczema, like really bad. And it's been an issue my whole life. At different times it's been worse than others. But the last couple of years, like during the winter, especially like around the time it snows, is when it just gets the absolute worst. Like there's some times of the year where I barely even notice eczema, like it's like almost like I don't have it. But yeah, there's certain times of year where it goes crazy and I am miserable. And guess what? It's that time of year. So last year actually was the worst my eczema had ever been in my entire life. Like it was just insanely bad. And when I was younger, I had gone to the dermatologist for my eczema and gotten help with it and used like different creams and stuff. And like it helped, but like, it wasn't a big enough deal that I was really too worried about doing more for it. But yeah, last year was the worst that it ever gotten. Like it was so bad that like my whole face was just puffy, swollen, painful, like rashy. Like I couldn't touch it without like being in pain. So it was bad last year. And so I finally gave in, and I don't like going to the doctor, but last year I finally just was like, okay, I kind of have to because this is so bad. And so I got on a new cream that helps, as well as like an injection that I had to self-administer every 2 weeks, which was interesting. The first time so when I was at the dermatologist's office, like they had samples of it, and so they gave me the injection. About passed out. It was not super fun. I just had to like chill in the dermatologist's office for like 30 or 40 minutes until I felt like I could drive home. And so it wasn't the most fun time by any means. And they were just like, yeah, and like here's all the information to like order some, and then like you'll just have to like self-administer it at home. And I'm just like, really? That sounds awful. But I was just like, at this point, I'm willing to give anything a chance to help my skin because it was so bad. Like I was just miserable. Like I would just wear a face mask to work most of the time because my skin looked so just atrocious and it hurt so much, and like it was just completely miserable. And like I had tried a lot of different things to like see if maybe it was like different products I was using that was causing it, stuff like that. And ultimately, like the conclusion I was able to come to by trying different products, trying to just go without products, was that it wasn't any of the products that was causing like the severe like rashing and just pain and all of that, but some of them made it worse. And so that was actually kind of the start of like my revolution towards like really clean and natural skincare and products like that. And so yeah, like I tried a lot of things, and ultimately it came down to it's like I just have eczema. Like my skin just likes to be angry, and I think the weather definitely impacts it. Like I said, it's the last 2 years it's been the absolute worst in the winter, like when it's snowing and it's just icky. And yeah, so yeah, finally, I go in there like, here's your injection, whatever. It was not super fun, and as somebody who's dealt with a lot of anxiety, like I've struggled a lot with shots, like ever since like my anxiety started getting bad in like junior high or high school. And so like I don't get flu shots anymore. Partially because of that. That was actually the start of the reason why I don't get flu shots anymore. Later on, it was more so just because of like some of my personal issues with the medical system and vaccinations and just random stuff like that. But that's not the point of today's video. Today's video is about my skin. So we can get into that another day. But yeah, so I go to the dermatologist's office, I get the injection, and for the first, it's like one of those injections you have to do every 2 weeks. And so the dermatologist was like, all right, let's come back in 2 weeks. We'll see how you're doing. Like, get set up so that you can order more of these injections. And I was just like, okay. But my skin starts just like exfoliating and peeling like crazy for those 2 weeks. And it was crazy. Like there was so much just dead skin coming off, especially from my face because that's where it was the worst. But like I also get it like on my wrist. I don't know if you guys can really see it because it's not too bad right now. but I get it on my wrists and elbows, and like lately I've been getting it like on my back, like on my shoulder blades, and that's new. I didn't have that last year. That's just a this year thing, and I'm like, whoa, back up. I already have enough eczema. No more, please. But so yeah, I was like, just tons of peeling skin. It was really weird, and I was just like, okay, well, hopefully this is, I think she had mentioned that was like something that like often happened, was like, she's like, make sure that you exfoliate a lot, because there's gonna be a lot of like dead, just messed up skin that's gonna want to just be free. And I was like, okay. But yeah, so it was a couple interesting weeks. I go back and I'm just like, I'm not sure if this is better. And she's like, just wait, like it's gonna take a couple of times before it really helps. And she's like, did you get the new ones ordered? And I'm like, I haven't yet, because the whole specialty pharmacy thing, like I have to order them online through a specialty pharmacy that ships them to my house. Like I can't go pick up these injections at Walmart. Like it was this whole ordeal, and I was so overwhelmed trying to deal with my skin for one, the other things going on in my life, and then of course, just figuring out how to even get these injections delivered. And so I was like, no, I haven't gotten them yet. And she's just like, don't worry, like we can just use another sample for you this time. And I'm just like, and it was really funny. So the first time, it's an injection that you have to like do in your thigh. And I wear very complex outfits. And I had no idea going into the dermatologist that first time. I remember it was January 7th of last year. Why do I remember the exact date? I don't know, but I do. It was January 7th. Well, probably because I had to keep track of 2 weeks from then for like the future injections and stuff. So maybe that's why I remember what day it was. And because I think I remember like having pictures of my outfit and, being like, wow, that was a nightmare to like figure out how to disassemble my outfit enough to put this injection in my thigh. It was like this cute dress, but I had like my leggings and tights and like underskirt and like little like just all kinds of little details. It was not great. So, but yeah, so the second time I went back and I was like, just in case, I wore a simpler outfit. I was like, I don't want a repeat of that nightmare from last time. It was a lot better, but yeah, so I had to get another injection, about passed out again. Thank goodness they had dum-dum suckers, because back then I still ate a little bit. Well, no, I guess I wasn't really eating candy at that point. Like I had given up candy already, but my like my two things that I would cheat on were fruit snacks and dum-dum suckers, because I would keep a ton of dum-dum suckers with me, especially like I also have really bad anxiety, and so like one of my like things that I do to cope with it is like I'll pick out and chew on my lips. And so my lips are always just a mess. So for a really long time, I would just always keep like dum-dum suckers or something like that with me, so that I could like gnaw on those instead of, peeling my lips. Which I did eventually give up dum-dum suckers, so now I just peel my lips again. Yay! I think it's part of my eczema though, that my lips are always so dry and messed up, so it's just all part of the fun. But yeah, so finally, I get in and I get the injection, and after that things really started improving, like a mixture of that and the cream that I had gotten. It was a steroid cream though, which is not great because your skin can get like addicted to it, and it's like this whole thing, and if you stop using it, especially if you use it every day, you will get this lovely like topical steroid withdrawals. Not fun, don't recommend. But yeah, fun, really fun, really fun. But my skin was starting to improve for like the first time in months, and I was so excited. I was like, I hate having to get injections and use a skin cream, but this is so much better than just the excruciating pain that I've been in. And so yeah, I was able to finally like get the injections from the place, and it was kind of scary at first, but like self-administering them really wasn't that bad. I just like get comfy in bed and do it, and then just like chill for a minute so that I didn't like try to stand up and pass out. Fortunately, once I like started learning how to cope with my anxiety better, one of the many positives of that is that it got easier for me to not pass out, because I realized like the reason I was passing out is because I would get so worked up about it, and also because like if my blood sugar was low, that made it 10 times easier. So I would always make sure to have something sugary like applesauce before doing it, and then it was so much better. And I mean, obviously, like I just kept myself calm. I was like, it's okay, I've done this before. I don't need to pass out. The only reason I was passing out is because I was anxious, so I don't need to be anxious. There's nothing to be anxious about. And so just like mentally walking myself through it like that made it so much better, and it just got easier and easier. And so I used those for a few months. The only problem is the way that I was affording them was through like a copay system, and essentially like it covered I don't know how many of these injections for the year, but like there was just a certain amount, and after you hit that amount, it was like I think over $1,000 per injection. There was no way I could afford that. I wasn't gonna ask my parents for money to afford that. So it kind of got to the point where it was like I was running out of my like balance on the copay card, and I'm just like, I'm not gonna be able to get more of these. So I started doing them like once a month instead of every 2 weeks. And fortunately, like at that point, it was getting to the time of year where my skin is usually better, and especially with the cream and stuff that I was using, like it was just overall better, and it wasn't really a big deal. And eventually, I just stopped using the injections completely. Like I saved a couple extras, like my last 2, or I thought it was only 1. I recently found out it was 2. And then I was just like, okay, well, like, I'm doing okay without these. Like I feel like it was just kind of the boost I needed to get out of like that really bad time period. And then I just kept using the cream, and it was okay. But like there was always this little part of me in the back of my mind that was like, I got to the point where I was using the cream almost every day, and I was just so desperately afraid to stop using it because, you know, like I didn't want my skin to get bad again, but also is like I knew that I was using it too often. So the chances were like once I stopped, I was going to start dealing with the withdrawals. Just topical steroid withdrawals are not a joke. I had like kind of dealt with them a little bit before with like another topical steroid I had used, and it was just a really bad situation, and I was really upset about it. And so like I had an issue with them, and so I wasn't like stoked when they originally prescribed that to me, but I was just like, I'm so desperate, like I'll do whatever. And like on this one too, it was a lot more like gentle, like a way lower percentage than the one that I had used when I was younger. So I was like, you know, it's safer. But I definitely got overly dependent on it, and I just every day I would put it on and I'd just be like, I need to like take a break so that my skin can kind of like refresh and won't just constantly be dependent on this. And so I was just like kind of in that state for a lot of last year, and finally I decided last week that it was time to do my little, just get over with the withdrawals, get my skin used to not having it, and then after that, like I need to not use it every day. It needs to be like a once a week or less kind of thing. And I picked the worst timing possible in the entirety of the year to do this. Literally, like right when it started snowing for the year, right when it got cold, right around that time of year when my skin gets bad anyways, so my skin was already starting to get bad. And so I was just like, you know what? Let's just go for it. So I was like, it's detox time. And my skin was already getting worse because there's that time of year and the weather was just being Utah weather. And so yeah, it got really bad, like really fast. And I had nothing that I could do about it because I was like, I thought I was out of the injections because, so I knew that I maybe had one left at my parents' house. And I went and I checked. It's one that you have to keep in the fridge. And I went and I checked and it wasn't there. And I'm just like, it probably got thrown away because I left it there for like 8 or 9 months and whatever. And so I was just like, well, this, like, it's okay. It is what it is. Like, it doesn't matter. I don't have to have that. I will just power through the pain for like a couple of weeks until I feel like I'm thoroughly detoxed, and then I can just start using the cream again more occasionally. Like, I'll just be really gentle with my skin in the meantime. I'll try to like cut out any unnecessary products. I'll just do whatever and just deal with it. Honestly, ultimately, that was the plan, was just deal with it. And I did that for a few days. Miserable, not fun, as to be expected. And then it just kept getting worse. And so I was talking to my mom about it. I'm back to the point where like my skin hurts to touch it. Like my eyelids are all puffy. Like I have to use so much makeup to make it not look like my face is just like on fire, which it feels like it's on fire right now. My eyelids hurt. Just opening and closing my eyes hurts a little bit, not gonna lie. And so I was mentioning it to my mom, and she's like, I think we still have a couple of your injection things, like if you're interested in those. And I'm like, what do you mean? Like I checked. And she's like, I think they're in the fridge in the garage. And I'm like, the fridge in the garage? How did I not check the fridge in the garage? Because my parents have like an extra fridge in the garage that they use for like things that don't fit in the main fridge. And lo and behold, there were 2 of them in there. And I was just like, Well, I don't want to have to use the injections because obviously I've changed my opinion a lot on different types of stuff like that. I don't like being dependent on medicine, which is part of like my issue with the cream and why I was like, I just have to detox from it because like this is not the way I want to live my life, is dependent on this. And I have a lot of issues with the medical system and all that stuff that I can get into another time. But it was like I was in so much pain and it was taking so much like time and energy away from like work and other things just because of how bad my skin was. And so I was like, you know what? I'm gonna just do the injection and like it's okay. I'm not planning on using it every 2 weeks for the rest of the year. I'm not even like, I don't even know if I'll use the second one. I just need this right now because while I'm detoxing from the cream and while the weather's really bad, I'm just gonna be miserable, and it's okay to get just a little bit of help. Even if it's not like most of the like ways that I prefer to take care of my body and like deal with feeling ill is I much prefer like the natural, like just healthy back to the basics kind of things. And obviously an injection is not that. And so it was hard because I had to kind of go against my values in that way. But ultimately it's like I also value being able to work and get the things that I need to done and having my body in a state that allows me to work. And of course, the ideal option is always going to be able to use natural methods to be in that state. But the reality of the situation is that just might not always be possible, especially with the limited resources that I have right now. So I was like, fine, I'll do it, and I'm hoping that things will get better. So that was about 2 days ago, and now I'm just kind of like letting it go through my system. My skin's starting to exfoliate a bunch again. It still hurts, it's still red, it's still kind of rashy, and it takes a lot of makeup to cover it up, which probably doesn't help, but it's important to me to look nice and to put together and to not look like my skin is like severely diseased, especially when I'm like dealing with customers all the time. And also like I just want to look in the mirror and feel like the first thing I think of, I don't want it to be how bad my skin looks. Like I want to look in the mirror and be like, oh, my glasses are so cute today, or like, oh, my hair is fun, or oh, look at these neat earrings I have. Like I want that to be the first focus, not like, wow, my skin looks like a nightmare. And so it's been a couple days. I am not really to that point where it's been long enough for things to really be improving, but I'm like, I'm just gonna keep going. I think I'm on like day 4 or 5 of my detox from the skin cream, and so that's been a little rough, but I'm like, I don't know how long of a detox I'm gonna do from it, especially just with how it's also the worst time of year for my skin in general. And so I don't know how much of like the suffering I'm going through right now is from the weather and how much of it is from the detox. But like I said, like my skin was already getting bad before I decided to detox. But it kind of was just like the reminder and the push of like, I have to do this. I've been putting off a detox for months. So like, just, I'm already suffering. I might as well suffer a little bit extra now instead of later. So yeah, we're kind of just that waiting period, hoping things start to get better. I'm gonna look into like some other stuff that'll be like natural soothing for my skin, and maybe like some more like gentle makeup, because that's one of the things that I haven't been the best about, like replacing with more like natural and healthy stuff, just because it's so expensive. I can barely even afford normal makeup. Like legitimately most of the makeup I'm using right now, like my random foundation, like I have had this for probably 3 or 4 years because I use like a very, very small amount of it every day. And I do also have like some other fancier stuff that I got for my wedding, and so I've got a lot more of this, but I don't always use this one as much. One super duper expensive. I think this was like $3 and this was more like $30. So I'm like, I saved this for special occasions. But even then, it's not like the most natural thing. It's still just some random foundation. It's just a fancier brand, higher quality, I think. But I don't have a huge preference between the two, like in terms of just how well they work and whatever. But yeah, so right now we're just kind of giving it some time. I might, if I'm feeling brave, insert a picture of how bad my skin has been, but I don't know if I want to subject you guys to that. I don't know if I want to take the time to look through my pictures and find just how bad it is, because it's not great, but we're working through it. We're gonna survive. I am just gonna keep kind of just trying to be strong, but who knows? By the end of the day, I might decide to use some of my skin cream, because like I said, it hurts a little bit like every time I blink, which is awful. And like around my lips too, especially like when I always get so like excited and smiley, but like it stretches the skin and it's just, I just need to like straight face. movements. I can't do that. I can't do that. It's not who I am. I like being animated and bright and just expressing my excitement with things, and sometimes that will just have to hurt, I guess. But we'll see. Hopefully I'll last longer than another day. I'm like, best case scenario, I make it to like a week or two. But I am also about to go out of town, so I don't know if it's like, if I should just not even bring it with me. No, I need to bring it with me, just in case things get really bad. I'm gonna bring it with me, because yeah, but I'm gonna be in a totally different, like, I'm going on a cruise. I'm really excited, but like, we're visiting tropical places, and I'm leaving country for the first time, which is thrilling. I'm so excited, but yeah, so we'll see how that goes. I don't know why I picked right before a big trip to detox my skin, but you know, I make funny decisions, and when I am in the mood to make a good, healthy, well thought out decision, I should just make it. So that's basically what I did. But yeah, so wish me luck as I'm dealing with my skin, trying not to go insane. I was like, I low-key had like almost a panic attack while I was doing my makeup today. It was only partially because of the fact that my face hurts every time I move it, but also my anxiety's already been a little bad. I've been super burnt out this week, and the skin stuff triggers my anxiety immensely, because like, yeah, my face hurting every time I move or do anything, it makes me feel really antsy and anxious and upset. Wonder why? But yeah, so I was like starting to panic while I was doing my makeup, and then it's the dumbest thing, but like on this eye, I was trying to do the mascara, and I'm out of like my favorite types of mascara, and so I've just been using another one that's actually used to be my favorite, but I don't like it as much anymore just because it doesn't fit the current style of makeup that I do. And like, I don't know, whatever was happening, like all of my eyelashes were looking nice and long, but there was this one little gap where they was just empty, and like the little lash, like I couldn't get the mascara on in the right way to like extend it, so it was just this gap. And I was just like, why won't it just go away? Like, I even tried using like the teeny remnants of some of my nicer mascara. No, I could not get rid of this weird little gap. The lash just wanted to stay itty bitty instead of being just a little bit longer. And so I was just like so overstimulated with my face and overwhelmed because I couldn't get it right. And I was just like, I can't stand this. So I sat on the floor for a minute. It was probably like 30 seconds before I was just like, grow up, girl. Like, you're okay. It's okay. You got this. Just stand back up. It's okay if your mascara doesn't look perfect. It's okay if your skin hurts. You have things to do. So just get up and do it. And like, I just kind of like encouraged myself and was like, it's okay. Like, you feel really panicky, but you don't have to. So I like have to consciously choose not to feel panicky about it and just go for it. And it's taking a lot to not just feel super panicky about my skin, but I'm just going to stay strong. I'm going to keep pushing through. And you know, at the end of the day, if it's too much, I will just decide that it's not. That is my solution. If something is too much, I will decide that it's not, and I will just deal with it. So yeah, that is how I'm going to just keep trying to get through things. We'll see what happens. I might update you guys, or I might never talk about this again. I'll probably bring it up again. Maybe in like a week or two, depending on how things go, I'll give like an update, be like, guess what, my skin is fixed, or guess what, it got worse. But I'm just hoping desperately that I don't have to go back to the dermatologist, because technically, so the last time I went to the dermatologist last year was in May, and then they scheduled another visit for a year out, and so I have a dermatologist appointment scheduled for May this year. My hope was that, I didn't even know if I was still going to be living in Utah in May. Now it looks like I probably will be. And so I'm like, originally I was just going to cancel the appointment and never go back. Ultimately that was what I was going to do. But now I'm like, I might go back. It depends on how I handle this. I feel like if I go back, they'll just like be like, well, have you been using your injections? And I'll be like, I did sometimes, occasionally. I can't afford to use them all year, but I also don't need to use them all year, because I essentially just started phasing them out as my skin got to the point where like it wasn't necessary, and for a lot of last year I just completely didn't need it. But yeah, now I need it right now, and I don't know, we'll kind of see what happens. Worst case scenario, I guess I might have to go back to the dermatologist earlier and be like, okay, so I can't afford these injections all year. Do you got another option for me that's not steroid cream? Because I don't want my skin to be addicted to that again, please. So yeah, that's the fun of my skin. I've gone way long on this video. This has been something that has been on my mind so much the last few days and has caused a lot of suffering, but now you guys know a little bit more. I'm curious if any of you guys have dealt with like similar skin issues or like, you know, just stuff like that it's like kind of like, I don't know. Do you guys have eczema? How does your eczema manifest itself? Like, I'm really curious to hear other people's like stories. Like, has anybody else had to deal with like having issues with steroid creams, especially, you know, with your skin freaking out the second you stop using them? Because I know that there's got to be other people with similar stories, and I'd love to know if you guys have found any better methods for dealing with it. So let me know down in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe, and I will see you guys next time.